Jerry and Charlie riding through the airwaves, bringing you the heat. Come on, pull your fans. Now get up out your seats. They're bringing you all things Mets. They're bringing you all things Mets. They're bringing you all things Mets. Now you're listening to Chase Station.
Today is Monday, October 14th. The Mets got thrashed in Game 1 of the NLCS by a final score of 9-0. The Dodgers scoreless streak continues. Everything went according to plan for them, but it's a 7-game series, guys. We're not at the ledge yet. Tonight's very important, but it's a 7-game series. The Mets got punched in the face. We've seen them punch back a ton. We're going to talk about the game 2 previews, all that stuff. I'm Jack, aka Jolly. Joining me is Jerry Blevins. Jerry, what were your thoughts on last night's game?
I think you nailed it. It's a 7-game series. You obviously don't want to show up like that. That was horrible. Started terrible, ended terrible. So 3 hits. The fact that they got 3 hits, I was like, oh, okay. That's nice. We mixed that in. I love that. But outside of that, it was a rough go. But again, 7-game series. These Mets have been resilient all year. They've gotten up off the canvas. I still feel like they're the better team. We mentioned it at the top. LA is a tough place to play. Doesn't always feel like it is, but it's definitely a home field advantage. Yeah, man, that was a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, the start of this game just kind of set the tone for everything. The Mets batting order goes 9 up, 9 down the first 3 innings. You feel for Kodai Senga, but it's hard to imagine him getting a start again this series because the guy just didn't have his fastball, didn't have his cutter, and wasn't able to get ahead in at bats, so he couldn't throw his ghost fork either. So that version of Senga, it's hard for him to be effective, and he walks 4 batters and gets 4 outs. I think it was 30 pitches and only 10 of them were strikes. Just a disaster. I think someone posted something interesting about his start in Philadelphia and that his strike to ball ratio was better, but 8 of the pitches or something were balls that Philadelphia swung at. Like, I think some people were saying the matchup was better in Philly. I personally think he looked just better in that start. He looked more comfortable after the Schwarber home run. This start, it felt like he had at no point settled in, and it was honestly shocking to see him go back out there for the second inning, considering how bad the first one was. But yeah, the Dodgers just jumped all over him. He was 1 out away from getting out of it in that first inning. Muncy made him pay with the fastball down the middle, and then the floodgates just kind of opened from there.
Yeah, he was terrible, and it happens. We see how beneficial it is when you have amazing starts. We've had so many incredible starts from our rotation for the last, I don't know, 3 months.
Yeah,
especially the last 2. And it just gives you breathing room. It allows the offense to kind of not have the pressure on them to fight back. They can, get their feet underneath them, get those butterflies out, and do it on an even playing field. When you're climbing uphill, it's a tough go. He did not have it. You're right. So many non-competitive pitches. His fastball didn't have zip. His ghost fork was nowhere near the zone.
Yeah.
It reminded me of what Reed Garrett looked like when he first came back, where he wasn't sharp. And that's what happens when you don't have innings underneath you. He hasn't thrown hardly at all this whole season. It's crazy. I thought he looked good enough in Philly. Not great, but good enough. He was not good enough today, and it buried the Mets.
Yeah, Senga fell down 1-0 to every single hitter that he faced except for Max Muncy, who ended up getting the 2-run single off him. So just constantly on his back foot, like just not set up for success. He gets pulled in the middle of the second inning. It becomes a bullpen game for the Mets. Reed Garrett looked great again. That's cool.
Yep.
I was I was really I don't want to say confused because nothing was inherently wrong, but I was definitely interested in the pitching plan of this game, the earlier part of it, because I think the latter part was kind of just getting Danny Young work and allowing Budo to finish it. What'd you think of Peterson getting deployed in this game for two and a third?
I thought it was okay because he's still a bulk guy, and this is a 7 game series. You needed, like, if you had that start from, if you start Senga,
Yeah,
you need innings because you can't. This I am against McNeil and Acuna being on this roster.
it feels like
I,
too many
I
cooks.
it's too many. No, you're just short in the bullpen. You're short, and Ottavino would have thrown here.
Yeah,
Danny Young went an inning and a third. You had to throw Jose Budo. No, no. You don't need to throw Jose Budo in this game. That would have been Ottavino, so you could have saved Budo. I liked bringing in Peterson. This is part of it. He had to throw regardless. So I think next time when it's Senga's start, I think it's David Peterson's start.
yeah.
And I think Senga will be out of the bullpen and he'll throw more often, instead of having you're kind of stuck with him now because you can't make roster moves. You can't, if you take him out, it has to be on the IL and he'll miss the World Series if they make it.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works. So guys, so you don't manipulate the roster. But he had to throw, and he had to throw multiple innings. And this is the gamble you take starting Senga, and they paid the price. To me, the game was not over. The biggest blow outside of Senga's start was when Winker got thrown out at third.
Yeah, that was pretty deflating.
Yeah,
That
because
was
they
the
had
first two hits of the night, back to
yep,
back, right?
and they were leading off the inning. Winker has a base hit, then Iglesias has a base hit,
On
and
0-2.
then yeah, man, he had a base hit. It was a big hit, but he got thrown out. Winker got thrown out trying to go first to third. And instead of first and second with nobody out, you have a runner on first with one out. So it was a big deal. So
Yeah, I mean, in that moment, you're like, all right, let's see what the comeback kids can do this time. You're not banking on a
correct.
6 run inning, but let's get some momentum going into the latter half of this game. You get the two men on, you're thinking, okay, well, if all goes according to plan, Lindor's going to get an at bat this inning. Let's see what damage we can do. Jesse gets thrown out at third. It's weird because his like weird hesitation in the middle of the base paths induces a throw to second from Kike, not third. If Jesse just goes, I think he makes it. I think he gets there
That's
before the
very.
throw.
He definitely has a better chance.
For some reason, he goes and then stops again and just kind of freezes and gets tagged out. What made it worse for me is that Tyrone and Alvarez swing on the next two pitches
Yeah.
and both get out. Like we were finally starting to like work Flaherty. Like let's see here. Winker's at bat goes 3 pitches, he gets a hit. Iglesias goes 6 pitches, he gets a hit. So you're already around like this 15 pitch inning, which you haven't made Flaherty do. For Tyrone and Alvarez to immediately both go first pitch and fly out, it's like, come on, guys. We had something going here. And that,
At
I
least
think, paved the way for him going 7.
at least Alvarez got a better pitch to hit. Tyrone Taylor's was a perfect sinker down and away.
Yeah.
Um, that you can't do damage on. Alvarez put a good sting in that ball. And it was middle in, like something that you can drive. I like that, but that fastball down and away to Tyrone, that was the inning for me where it felt over after that
Yeah.
inning. Because it was 6-0 at this point. If you get 1-2 here, you're within striking distance, and this offense is capable of putting up a 5 spot. They've done it, a half dozen times this month. So yeah, but that was it for me. Um, yeah, just a tough game. They got their butts kicked.
Yeah, that seventh inning stinks too. Pete gets ahead 3-1. He swings at the knuckle curve at his knees. Like that could have been a walk. Marte flies out to the wall. Of course, Kevin Kiermaier is flying over there to make the catch. Like that was pretty deflating. When you're trying to get Flaherty out of the game and just see some of the bullpen. That this is, I think, the reason why the Dodgers announced a bullpen game today. If Flaherty goes
Yeah.
five and he has to use some of his guys, I bet you see Walker Buehler today. But because the Dodgers got to completely protect everybody besides Daniel Hudson, who did run into a little bit of trouble but didn't give up a run, they're going to have all their guys going today. You're going to see Kopech, you're going to see Evan Phillips, you're going to see Blake Trinan, you're going to see all their A guys today. So the game two path got a lot tougher in my opinion because sometimes when you see a team announce a bullpen game, you're like, nice, let's go. Like this is going to be fun. This is not going to be fun.
Yeah.
There's about 12 different arm slots that the Dodgers are going to throw at you, and it's not like that offense is going to stop anytime soon. Um, I said it in the preview yesterday that I thought game one was best set up for the Dodgers to win. Like I thought I would, I
It's
said that in Philly too,
damn
but
near
go
a
ahead.
must win for them.
Yeah, like they were primed to get ahead in the series. They a lot of momentum from their series win and stuff like that. But this one was set up for them to win, considering our pitching plan and their pitching plan. It just went so flawlessly for them. Like the Mets really didn't put up a fight, and that I think is the most deflating thing. Like I don't. I don't know if I feel better if they lose this game like 9-8. I might feel worse because they were so close. But losing 9-0 definitely doesn't feel good. And it really doesn't feel good when the top of their lineup just owned you all night. Just every ball they hit was so hard hit. Even hobbled Freddie Freeman going second to home on a single was pretty tough. Um, I don't know about you. One big thing I noticed in this game, the bottom of the Dodgers order is fantastic. There is like no breathing room in this lineup whatsoever. Like with Kike doing his playoff thing, Gavin Lux with some good at bats, and Tommy Edman laying down a beautiful bunt and getting an RBI hit. Like 1 through 9, man, there's no rest in this lineup. Unlike Philly, where you had a couple rest areas towards the bottom.
Yeah, yeah, they've got a deep lineup. You knew that going in, but they looked the part. Um, the top of the order for me was where the game, got away, and you hope your big guns, your starting pitcher can navigate some of that stuff, and you couldn't. They had 5 hits and 3 walks out of their top 3 guys. Like that's a pretty good recipe for success. 5 RBI on their 9 is from the first 3 guys. Pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, and you knew that this was going to kind of be a different series because the Dodgers were one of the best teams in baseball at hitting lefties. They had a 795 team OPS against left-handed pitching this year. The three best Mets pitchers right now, Manaea, Peterson, Quintana, all southpaws. So this is going to be a much tougher setup for Mets pitching. We've seen them, like you said, dominate for the better part of a month. I even said yesterday it was weird seeing Peterson get hit because whenever he came into the game the past month, I'm like, all right, cool. We're gonna get a couple innings of like relief. Like hopefully the offense can get something going while he dominates. And then he just immediately got hit. And I was like, this isn't part of the plan. Peterson's supposed to mow down everybody and then we're supposed to hit. That's how this always goes. So that was shocking. I was a little surprised McGill didn't get into this game. In my head, I thought he would come in after Peterson and just finish it, but I didn't mind Danny Young getting some work. How about Danny Young getting to the top three
He
in
looked
order?
good too.
Good for
Yeah,
him.
that's I didn't I agree with not pitching McGill there because you need another bulk guy.
Yeah.
You can't go in and expect your bullpen to just throw, 6 innings of 7 games if it comes down to that. So you're going to need to deploy, McGill if another starter struggles. But this is still a very winnable series. Like this team is, and it wasn't the showing. You don't want them to go out like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Flaherty was okay. Like he pitched really well, but he wasn't. His line is better than what he was showing me on the mound. Um, I expect the offense to kind of break out of it a little bit, work some more counts, man. Get to their bullpen. You got a bullpen game coming up. Uh, got to win one in LA. It's not a must win. Again, you're going to have to win at least one in LA.
Yeah.
So if it's this one, then you go home and win two out of three. Or if you lose, you got to sweep at home, that kind of thing, and then win one on the road. You got to win at least one in LA to win the series. It's simple math for that, and this one wasn't it, so that's no big deal.
Yeah.
They
I
made
mean,
yeah
go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. I was just gonna say they made Jack Flaherty look like an ace, and he is not an ace. Like he didn't have that good of stuff. They chased the curveball. Did he throw any curveballs for strikes?
Let me check for you. It didn't feel like it. It felt like all of them were below the knees, and the Mets were just fishing the whole night.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if he's not an ace in this game, he had a good game plan. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
he had a good game plan, and the Mets followed his game plan very well.
I see one, two, three, four knuckle curves thrown for strikes out of, let's see, I believe it's 4 out of 25.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah, it feels
Yeah,
accurate.
that's what it.
Uh, oh,
Yeah,
even worse, 4 out of 28.
4 out of 28. Make him throw it for a strike, and then you chase. And they chased anyway.
And so many of those are in deep counts too, dude. That
Mhm.
was just like his go-to. Like, I need a swing here. I need a bad contact or a whiff when I throw my knuckle curve.
Yep.
Like his setup is really good. Like right now, he's got the slider that's touching like 84. The knuckle curve he throws at like 79, and they look the same. It's just the knuckle curve has a little bit more loop to it. So I think hitters want to hit it more because they see the wrinkle and they're like, ooh. But he was just making them look foolish, throwing out the
Yep.
zone. And you're gonna get more of that with this Dodgers bullpen. Like they will not throw you strikes if they feel like they don't have to. So the Mets are gonna have
Correct.
to prove that they can work good at bats, like they've done a ton on this playoff run. Like you think of all the
Correct.
great rallies, a lot of them start with like a 9 pitch walk. Like Lindor, Iglesias had that 0-2 battle against Strom is the one I always think of. Like these guys are capable of doing that, but they didn't do it last night, and the Dodgers knew that they could exploit it, and they made it look easy. Um, so for game two, enough about game one because
Yeah, let's move on.
it's ancient history in my mind. Okay, it
Cool.
happened. Game two, you rested Edwin Diaz, Phil Maton, and Ryan Stanek. So I think those are your main guys today for 7, 8, 9. Hopefully Sean can give you six. There's a lot of talk of Sean's numbers against the Dodgers in his career. I don't really care about that. A lot of those stats were in like 2021, 2022. He's a different guy now. I want to see him take down, this team with his new arsenal, his new approach, all that. They pivoted. So the original probable was going to be Walker Buehler because I think that they didn't think they'd get the best case scenario, which was 7 shutout innings from Flaherty. I think they were expecting closer to 5 because did you see the stat on the broadcast? He was the first Dodgers pitcher to go 6 innings in a playoff game since 2021, and they're in
I
the
did.
playoffs every year.
Yep.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
How,
Well, I mean, they have the hook. That's what they do. They play the numbers game. They're well prepared, and they haven't had blowout games like this. Like
yeah,
the Mets played right into their hand. But it's Manaea. This is our guy. This is the ace of our staff. This is a huge start of many huge starts that he's had for the Mets. Um, he needs to go out and pitch a gem.
yeah. That's straight up. I mean, you need an ace level performance. You got one in NLDS game three. That was big. That was a must win game for the Mets. Manaea pitched one of his best games of the season. You need another one. Like he is the ace of this staff, and you need him to come up big tonight. It's a much tougher matchup. That top three is not going to relent. Like they're going to stay aggressive and make you earn every pitch. But if you take this game, the whole series shifts back to your momentum because now suddenly it's a 5 game set. You have home field advantage, and you just won the most recent game. So this game was always more important in my mind. I do wish they didn't look like that last night. I'm not saying that like losing 9-0 is okay. It's not okay. It was really bad. It was a tough watch. It made me feel pretty dejected as a fan. But all that can go away with a win tonight, even if it's just a scrap by 2-1, 1-run win, whatever. Get something going with the bats, work better counts, see the bullpen. Don't let Landon Knack throw 3 innings. Like, make them earn this bullpen game. If they want to do it, make sure they did it like the Padres game that they used a bullpen game. 8 pitchers to get 9 innings. The Padres got to see everybody. It just wasn't beneficial for them because it was like the end of the series. We're in game 2, and if you're hoping this goes the distance, because I think we all know deep down this series is probably going back to LA at some point if the Mets are going to be competitive. We got to start seeing the guys. We got to get our first licks of Trinan, of Phillips, of everyone in that pen, because they're all weapons. They have 6 guys back there that are like high leverage arms. I need the Mets to get a taste of everyone, because later in the series where Walker Buehler's making starts and Yamamoto's making starts and they're going 5, these guys are going to pop up again, and the situation's going to be a lot more dire because it'll be late game. So this game is very important on multiple levels, not just winning, but familiarizing yourself with their best weapon and showcasing your ace, like showcasing your biggest pitching weapon. This game has a chance to swing the entire series both ways, and I'm hoping it goes our way.
You nailed it. That's exactly what they need to do. Go get a W here. So simple. Landon Knack is very hittable if that's the guy that starts, which it seems like it probably will. A lot of 4 seams, a lot of pitches in the zone. It's got like extreme ride on that ball. Hittable though, especially in a team as potent as the Mets.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a lineup shakeup today either. Like maybe let's get JD Martinez to start if it's a bullpen game. I thought McNeil's swing looked good yesterday. I thought it was going to be a hit, if I'm being honest. He got a little jumpy. But yeah, I mean, there's not too much to note outside of just all that. I think we'll have a lot to talk about after today's game, because we'll know a lot more about where the series is at and probables and all that jazz. But the mission was get one in LA. It's still the mission, and it's still achievable. That's all it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, no panic. Again, as a player, the game's done.
Yeah.
Focus on what's in front of you. Understand their approach and sharpen yours and go and deploy it. Like, stick to it. They kicked your butts in game 1. Now it's time to return the favor.
One last thing, because I just remembered it. In that first inning, when they had, I think it was bases loaded 1 out, bases loaded 1 out. Will Smith hits the fly ball to center field on the first pitch. I thought 1,000% that they were going to send Betts there. Were you shocked that they held him up? I know they scored anyway, but like I felt like he was flying down the line and was going to get there easily. The throw was offline too. I don't know.
It didn't spark a thought in my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much it, guys.
That's
about all you can say about a 9-0 blowout in game 1 of the division series.
Let's go. Win a ball game.
Yes, win a ball game. We'll be streaming on Shea Station at 4 p.m. today. We're watching the game live. Hopefully it'll be a more fun stream than yesterday. There was really nothing to get excited about. Go ahead.
Who's watching with you?
I'll be watching with Ryan Cohen and my boy Lorenzo, who's been watching all the Mets games with me. It's going to be fun. Hopefully the vibes will be better. Different room, different setup. We're going to bring back the rally burrito, all that good stuff. Yeah, let's get a win today, man. It's weird that both NLCS games will happen before the first pitch of Yankees Guardians. I feel like that doesn't make sense in my brain. But yeah, win today, get the day off tomorrow, come back home to Citi Field, series tied, get that crowd back behind you. Best of 7. A lot of baseball left.
Nailed it. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets. See you guys soon.
Shea Station, Jerry and Charlie. Shea Station, Jerry and Charlie. Thank you all for coming. Hope you enjoyed the show. We will see you next time, where we'll be back.
Station.